Alright, so next up, something that people may not know about. I know most people probably aren't going to know about this, but Marvel's newest, I don't know if it's going to be a Netflix thing or a TV show, or if this is going to be like a web series. I'm not sure, but they're making a TV show, miniseries, whatever. Marvel is making a Cloak and Dagger, and I'm not sure how I feel about this on YouTube. Like, I know who Cloak and Dagger are, only because I grew up reading comic books, right? I grew up in reading comic books in the late 80s and in the 90s and coming into the thousands. And Cloak and Dagger, they're always been like the C team level people. They would always pop up in everybody else's books. But they're I don't even think if they had a solo book, now that I'm thinking about it. But if they did, it was never popular. So most people who probably watch Marvel's movies now, they're gonna not know who these people are. But basically, Marvel and Dagger is Marvel's, if you want to call them their interracial couple. But they're a black guy and a white chick, and the black guy, he has the ability to teleport. His name Cloak is weird because he has this big hooded cloak that he has. He's like, let's say like if you want to call him a being of darkness, that's how he looks, where he's just basically a floating cloak where his body is just like covered in blackness. And what he can do is he can suck in items or people into his cloak and teleport them to another area. So think of him like Nightcrawler in that aspect. He's a teleporter. His girlfriend Tandy, she is, I don't know what you want to call her, but she has the ability to, it's something similar to Dazzler, but Dazzler, I think her mutant power is she can transfer sound to light, whereas with Tandy, I think she can make light-based constructs and fire like lasers and things like that. And it's like she uses light as her weapon. That's like her thing. And their powers are opposites of each other. You know, they play just like in their relationship, they play up the whole white and black thing, you know, and that's kind of how their powers are similar like that too. They're like opposites. And they're like the lovey-dovey teenage couple. I forget how they got their powers in comic book. I think somebody experimented on them, then they broke out, and they're not Street Fighters per se. So like, oh, not Street Fighters, but I know they're not Street Fighters. They're not fighting Ryu or Ken no time soon. But they're not superheroes. That's the word I was looking for. They're not superheroes in a sense like Spider-Man, where they use their powers to go out and save people every day. That's not what they do. But they do help people or pop up from time to time to help other heroes or people, things like that, right? And Marvel, they just put out the trailer for it, and I just don't know how I feel about it. It looks incredibly young, like Marvel is making this for teenagers, and by being an adult man myself, I just don't know how this is gonna play in. I mean, it looks like something you would see on like WB. It doesn't look gritty. It doesn't look dark at all. And maybe that's the vibe they're going for, since the main characters are teenagers. So it's going to probably have a lot of teenage angst in it and things like that. And
I got you.
That's just not something that I'm into because I'm an adult. And I'm not belittling teenagers or nothing like that. It's just I've always been one of those kind of people in real life who have been on the outside of all of that teenage bullshit. Like most people, when you talk to them, they'll tell you like, oh man, I'm not the same person I was when I was 15, or when I was coming up, I was this way, but now that I'm adult, I'm another way. I'm not that person. You know, I'm the same way I was, you know, when I was 15 and 16 in high school. I didn't have a lot of angst. I didn't go around beating people up or getting into fights, none of that bullshit. I didn't have a lot of relationship issues. I didn't have a lot of none of that teenage bullshit of, you know, going hating my parents or, you know, treating my parents like shit because of something. You know, it's just, I didn't have none of that. So the only thing that's changed with myself coming up is like my maturity, my mentality, if you want to call it that, things like that, right? my manhood, so to speak. But with this here, I guess by them focusing on teenagers, I'm guessing they're gonna have a lot of teenage angst because they shown like fighting and stuff like that. So I'm gonna guess, you know, if it is like episodes, I don't know if it's gonna be like a full season of something or maybe like a mini series type thing. I know the info saying is that it's gonna be on Freeform. I have no idea what the hell Freeform is, so I don't know. Let me see. An American-based cable satellite television channel. Okay, so it's like Disney's own, you know, like, you know, Disney got a television channel or something outside of Disney. But it's just one of those things where by them having, you know, powers as teenagers, I don't know how they're going to play that into, you know, into account. I doubt they're going to be stopping bad guys, you know, because that's never been Cloak and Dagger's thing. So it's kind of hard to place where the TV show or whatever this is going to line up. Because I think, judging by the trailer, it looks like they're going to probably have a few episodes of them showing angst, you know, being members of society. They're going to meet each other, love each other, fall in love, whatever you want to do. Then somebody's going to experiment, kidnap them, whatever. They're going to get their powers. And then maybe they have to go through a couple of episodes understanding what their powers are. Then they're probably going to have like a breakup period where they're not going to like each other or whatever. And then they're going to probably come back together to fight whoever gave them powers or whatever the bad guy, threat, whatever at the end, you know. And I can bet you that's how it's probably going to go. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I like what Marvel does, but this is one thing where it's like, I'm not sure if this is going to kick off, you know. It's very weird because if they're doing this just for like this one television station, they're probably doing it as an experiment. Marvel and Disney, or Disney rather. Now I'm not even gonna say Marvel. Disney is making Marvel do all of their products. They're trying to cover all of their bases, so to speak, with a lot of their properties, TV shows, movies, comics, whatever, animations, right? And this feels like, okay, we got the older family audience that watches the movies, we got the adults that like the gritty stuff to watch the stuff on Netflix, and this feels like the TV show, like, all right, we need something for preteens, let's go, let's get something out there. And they chose this. That's what this feels like. So I just don't know how it's gonna be. I'm guessing it looks like it's on a small budget, so you can cut out probably a lot of CG. And by them making it that, I'm not gonna call it shitty, but by them making it that shitty, it's just I don't know. It looks like right now from the trailer, it looks like a B-rate TV show about superheroes. And normally those kind of things don't go well. Like it reminds me a lot of like the older early 90s comic book movies. Like that old ass Fantastic Four movie that was just straight garbage. And I don't mean the ones that they made in the thousands. They made one in like the early 90s and it was complete shit. Or like that 1990s Captain America movie. You know, it's like old comic movies. They were just bad. YouTube outside of like the Incredible Hulk TV show, nah, they were bad. But that's what it's giving me, that kind of vibe, you know. But this feels like Disney putting something out there for preteens and teenagers who are into that teenager boy meets girl type angst type bullshit. And I guess by me being an adult who's about to hit what, 34, 35 now, that just turns me off completely. So I'm gonna check it out because I watch all the Marvel stuff because I'm a fan of comics and all of that shit. I know who the characters are. So I'm gonna watch it regardless, but it's probably not gonna be on my top 10 list, not by far. So, but this is just the first trailer. Who knows? Things may go on. They might have 3 trailers out within a few months, and things may change, but I doubt it.